Good morning, good morning, good morning. No matter if it's morning or not. It's a pet phrase I like to say a lot. Habit mostly. And pulled it from a Mary Oliver poem that I could talk about on another time for other reasons. Welcome back to my channel. My name's Dallas. This is a reflection back on some of the things I'm stepping into and becoming aware of and initiating with a new project that I have that's coming about in Salt Lake City. And as part of just my own process, I want to make sure that I'm recording it and sharing aspects of the project and how it's rolling out. Because to date, this is first of its kind for me, and that provides lots of learning opportunities. So I'm going to share them with you as I go along. And also it's a way to just record for myself and see how the process goes as I hop in and out, back and forth. So I know this video is going to be a bit rough. It's going to be not as filtered as a lot of other content creators, but I'm more interested in getting the content out and sharing and trying to create a rhythm, So I was thinking about even how to call this or how to do this, in part of what I'm hoping to be this, a rhythmic, scheduled space where I can share what's happening and how this project jumps and leaps and grows. And I'm thinking of generally this is I'm going to be doing large scale installations, art installations. It's public art too. And so I'm thinking of just calling them reflections, week 1, reflections, week 2, reflections, week 3, etc. Because this week was targeted as this first week of April was to be the first week really initiating the project. And that was going to stem from, number one, the press release coming out from the arts organization of the Arts District in Salt Lake City. And unfortunately, just things didn't come aligned. And so the press release has been pushed back a week. Not surprised or, put off by that at all. It's just, these organizations, when they're trying to pull in information from multiple people, sometimes everyone's schedules, it's a little tricky to get aligned. So initially I was going to announce what the project was, kind of start rolling it out this week, but we'll probably start next week. Still, I want to talk about reflections from week 1. And those are going to be covering the press release. They're also going to be covering a meeting I had about sourcing and materials, walking the city, ideas, updating my website, and then a really juicy, fun story about a potential sponsor, who will still remain nameless and anonymous until or if and when it's official. But it's a great story. So let's tackle the first one first. How about that first one first? Yeah. The press release. So press release is a significant piece about what I'm going to do, because it is, more or less an official mark or document or representation by the organization that is recognized by the city and the county about what I'm about to do. So for me, strategically, really needed that press release because I want to be able to use that as I talk to people who may want to become engaged with the project, right? It also boils the entire information and a lot about the project down to very bite-sizable things for the mass public or mass audience. It also goes out to all sorts of media, right, who are looking for stories. And so that also is a nice thread through it to help publicize the upcoming project. Also, it introduces a few other artists that received this art partnership, who I still need to meet, and I'm looking forward to that and sharing this sort of, virtual stage with them for the next year. And but yeah, all of those pieces are why a press release is significant. So I'm looking forward to getting that next week, and then we can move more in a direction of officially letting people know about how big or wide or the scope and the details of what this project is going to be. Have you written a press release before? Do you look up press releases, or are you in a space or a profession where you see those happen? They're their own sort of territory, within publicity and PR and marketing. And we should actually look at one at some point, because I'll probably write one as well for me. But for now, we're going to use the organization who's asked me to partner with them. Another big highlight this week was the first meeting we had with just two of the most excellent people on my team, Dusty and Garth. Both of them phenomenal woodworkers. Both of them very well equipped and just really great talents and skill sets when it comes to fabrication and materials. So we had our first meeting, probably of many, but we did it via Zoom because just due to everyone's schedule. And it was a great time. We had so much fun and a lot of smiling, a lot of energy. I was excited to know that this project is going to be happening. Again, not theoretical. This is actually happening. And so immediately we need to understand and discover, what does it take and cost, and then where do we find materials to make these things? So I'm not going to share with you quite yet what it is, but the materials meeting was about all the kind of materials that we could use, might use. We thought we were using this. Is there a better version of it? And then me speaking with these excellent wood artists who work with wood very well, know the gorgeous material it is, and then getting their lens on it. It was super. It brought up some really interesting takeaways for the project. It also created better problem solving, because we kind of zeroed in on a new material that I hadn't thought of or hadn't known about. So that was exciting. And then there were other aspects about even the installation. We just began to be able to talk about it in real time. And we know that there's plenty of opportunities to problem solve this, because what we're doing, we haven't seen before in any city. And so we're trying to figure out how exactly it works, which the caveat is, right, with a lot of art or a lot of making, it's more than just a painting, right? Or, a piece of marble that's sculpture. There's other details about how you find the material, what tools you use, that come into play about making a work of art or an expression that looks like a work of art. So it was really a great time to talk with them, get their reflections on it, and then also talk about sourcing. Where do we find this material? And then beyond the basic material that it is, but what about paint? What about hardware? What about attachments that will be coming into play as we mount it on big spaces that we're going to be mounting it? So it was fantastic. It lasted about an hour. We also were trying to figure out general budgets, what it's going to take to make one of these things. So, but because we're making multiple of these things. So that was really wonderful. And both of them, beyond just being terrific, personable people, they're also really professional, and they have great bodies of work that they've done that make me just super excited to work with them in this capacity. and it was all grins and smiles. I mean, the vibe is just so great. So that was my materials and sourcing meeting, which I'm really excited for our next one, which our next meeting, we're going to look at the hardware used and needed for attaching or installing these pieces throughout the city. So that's to come. What's next? Oh, the next is walking through the city. So I have a really great morning practice already where I walk and walk and walk. Like I walk for miles almost every morning. And that is a nature of about a year and a half ago, I had a really bad back problem that happened that I had to have surgery. And one of the only ways that prior to surgery and after that really helped my back feel great was to walk. And so I am a ardent walker. And now I get to use these morning hours to walk the city and explore with my eyes and my curiosity to look at all these aspects of the city and wonder, can the art go there? Can it go there? Can it go there? Can it go up? Well, I wonder if a fire escape, or I wonder if this parking garage, or I wonder if this building right here, or this, So now I'm really enjoying these mornings of just getting a cup of coffee in hand, but then actually it is working, thinking about where will this go? And I'm also prepping myself so I can have some ideas, because on Monday, our team, all of us that can from the city and my small team, are going to meet up together and we're going to walk the city. We're calling it our field trip. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to sit with each other and say, hey, I wonder if it could go here. Hey, I wonder if it could go there. How large do we think this one would be? Where do we think the audience would be wanting to see this? If we could lead these people through this little scavenger hunt of visual cues, where do we want to take them? Where's the most interesting? Which organizations or businesses or buildings could we most easily work with? Who do we think will want to get in on this? Have we tried this one? I mean, there's so many aspects about what this finding is going to bring and this discovery process. Knowing that Monday is with the whole group is really exciting, because when you're the only eyes seeing a thing, you can only see it so much and so well, even if you turn around. But if you have multiple eyes, looking at it, examining it, then you can see so much more of what's possible. And that's what I'm really excited about that. I'm super excited about that. But walking the city, beyond being like a meditation, I get to pull in that now I get to make art in the city. And so it becomes part of my morning. It's fantastic. Do you walk your city? Do you walk in the mornings? Do you walk around your home? Are you a walker? Do you ever imagine walking where you live and wondering if there's art that's going to be going up outside and where you would put it? The next key thing that I was doing was beginning to update my website. So obviously this will be somewhat of an important piece of it, because my hope is, and just hope in the fates and all the luck, but if this becomes a project that is successful on some level, I would love to see it in other cities. Oh my gosh. I'll talk more about another project that I did that took about 10 years, that also took me all over the country into different cities at another time. But I also, when I was designing this idea, I really wondered if I could take this same concept and just go to a different city. So I'm already thinking ahead, because when and if people go to this website, my website, I want them to very easily understand what it is, and then for sure have a queued up space where it says, do you want me to come to your city? Great, send me a message. I also want the website to be the repository of all the assets and what's happening besides social media, right? I want it to live in a place where people can see the process and can understand what's going on, and then thinking, oh, let's let's have the artist come to our city. So there's a lot of factors about that too when you're updating a website, right? It's about writing, it's about SEO, it's about making images, it's about language, it's about a vibe, it's about ease, and are you looking at it on a screen or on a phone? There's a lot of considerations when coming into a website, and maybe we'll do a separate video about that and some ideas I have for you about that. But just generally for me, the delay of the press release actually gave me a little bit of wiggle room to start creating a space for my own website so that I can control the narrative of what it is I'm doing on that platform. So that takes some doing. And because I'm a designer, I understand the ins and outs of making imagery, and I'm also a writer, so that I want to be very specific with some of the words that I'm using, especially when it comes to SEO and the potentiality of people searching for a project like this or this exact project and having it reflect really well in what people are expecting or hoping to find out about it. But I feel pretty good about where the website's at right now, today. And then there's obviously other pieces that need to come in, but I feel really good about this first week, even prior to the press release. I'm feeling like my website's in a pretty good spot. Of course, like most creatives, the website's never fully done. It is never fully updated. It is never, there's so much work that's not showcased on it. So that's also where I've let go of a certain amount of control and just said, no, I need to get this up and going to make sure. And then hopefully we'll get the other parts of my website tuned in as we go. Is your website up to date? Do you update it regularly? Is it like a quarterly thing? Do you have a website? I think there's a good argument to be made, like maybe don't even have a website, maybe just use, an Instagram account or a YouTube channel. But or I don't know, what would your opinion be? Do you still use a website? Do you actually look up websites anymore, or do you just use social channels? This is also kind of a curious thing for me. I still think I need one on some level, but would love to hear what you think. All right, this is already getting pretty long, so I'm going to share this quick last story. This potential sponsor will remain anonymous until I know that we can share this, but I can share this for now. I learned that this person held a really beautifully strategic position that I was really interested in dialoguing about a partnership and making this large-scale art in the city. And so as far back as January, I had reached out to this person twice through email, I believe, in two voice messages. Now, due to the great work that they're doing and the volume, I automatically assumed that because they don't know me, I might not get a response, for a while, or maybe, at first glance, they still don't want to get in touch with me just due to the fact they don't know me. This is what's sort of hard sometimes, right? When you do a cold call, you just don't know exactly if the person you're reaching out to is going to be available or not, or if they're interested or not. And that's nothing personal. It's just how their situation might be. So I had tried to work a space of people who knew this person, and yet I still wasn't being able to be threaded in with them. And so it was, I think, just 2 weeks ago, I had left them another message, and just more or less said, I hope I hear from them. I hope because I could see such a beautiful opportunity to work with this person and the organization they represent. That's really at a fundamental space about what I'm trying to do with this specific art installation. And so, yeah, I had sent out some communications and hadn't heard back. Well, then yesterday, the director of this art partnership that through the city and county that's working with me directly, she texts me and says, hey, do you want to jump on a quick phone call? I think we may have found a potential sponsor. So, in a really loving, joking way, I immediately called her. She started laughing, and I just said, I'm not even going to ask how you're doing. Just tell me about the potential sponsorship. We laughed and laughed and laughed. She's really great. Her name's Brittany, and she's got a fantastic brain and heart, and she knew immediately that it was going to be exciting. Come to find out, this person who I've been trying to reach out to reached out to her in a different, not knowing me at all or what I was trying to do with this arts organization, but had reached out to her because she is the director of this arts organization, and he had reached out because his organization is having a big, big anniversary this year. And he reached out because she's got her hands in all the art in the city and county, and he said, hey, I'd like to talk to you possibly about doing something. She listened to what his ideas were and then relayed, and I don't know her, I can't quote her total words, but relayed basically like, what would you think if this possibly could be, we align with someone else who we're already working with? And she named me. And as soon as she said my name, he said, Dallas? I think I have a couple messages from him that I haven't got back to. She went on to relay, some really beautiful and generous consideration about me and the fact that the project I want was one and that they're moving ahead with me. And then from what I understood, it really excited this potential sponsor because he, and I guess what I'm doing really fits what their organization is trying to do. And so we laughed and laughed, and she invited him immediately to this field trip that's coming up in a couple days. And, immediately I felt such a deep smile, in my chest because it seems like I'm going to get to talk to him after all. And it comes through a very natural, very organic way of his reaching out to her and her being in a space of support of me that will make, I think, this opportunity really uplifting, no matter what the outcome is, right? No matter what. And I guess I want to end on that note. Honestly, we never know. We never know what opening one door will do. And so many times I think if you think about it, if you think about every person, like in a beautiful way, think of them as a doorway, not as an object. Just because every person that we have the opportunity to intersect with, every person that we get to have a conversation with, every person that we get to have an exchange with, has an entire world touching that point of who they are. And then when our entire world gets to touch them at that point of who they are too, the doorway that opens up, well, it just becomes infinite and endless and who knows. And so I think that's when these adages is like, well, you just never know. Or, for example, someone like me who's just shot in the dark, trying to reach out, doing my best. But because I did, when he contacted her, the name was already familiar in his ears. And luckily, because she and I have had such positive interactions, she was able to, paint a good picture of me to him. So at least there's going to be a positive interaction. And this is all because when we meet a new person, or we get to sit in their space, we realize and get to see the world through different eyes and understand it better. So I feel like that's a good note to end on, and I'm glad that we get to, that I got to share some of these things with you. Did any of you have a story like that before that you want to share? Please do, leave it. I'd love to hear about it. These kismet moments, the serendipity, we really wonder about how how does chance sometimes land so beautifully like that? And then why does it seem to happen sometimes with more people than others? Do you ever wonder that too? You know, what's the physics on that? What's the invisible mystery behind that? It's such a potent, beautiful thing about how and why people work together. I feel like that's such a deep value of why we collaborate or try to do things with other people. It's because we see how small the world really is and how connected it is. All right, I think that's good for now. Sorry if the lighting was awful. Sorry if my voice was something too much, but let me know if you liked my voice or not, or I didn't necessarily plan to hold it the whole time, but just let me know, and let me know if you relate to any of the content I shared. And are you going to be coming to Salt Lake City in the next year? Do you think you'll be here? I'd love to know about it if you are. All right, that's all for now. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.